Hello students, welcome to the online tutorial for Vidya Bhavan Higher Secondary School. This video is for class 11 science. So I had to make an announcement in this video that on 21st September from 11 o'clock the guardian meeting will be held in the school premises. Guardians are requested to come with their Aadhaar card. Understood? Now let's go on to our chapter. I have finished the science of life, the taxonomy and systematics. Now I'll go with the third chapter, that is the classification of the living world. So let's not waste the time and get started with the classification of the living world. Now as we know that classification, what is classification? Classification is the ordering of animals and plants to groups or to certain phylum on the basis of their characteristics, on the basis of the relationship between them. Okay, now this is the common idea. Now next we will see that the 5 kingdom classification, this 5 kingdom classification was given by R.H. Whittaker. Now this living world is being divided into 5 kingdoms. First is Monera, second is Protista, third is Fungi, fourth is Plantae, fifth is Animalia. So these are the 5 kingdoms. And these 5 kingdom classification was proposed by R.H. Whittaker. Now we will first consider the first kingdom, that is the Monera. Okay. Now what is this Monera? What are the characteristics? First of all, it is unicellular, microscopic and prokaryotic. That means they are not having true nucleus. They can be saprophytic, parasitic, symbiotic. Okay. Absence of membrane bound organelle. Okay. Nuclear material is in the form of double helical circular DNA known as the nucleoid. Okay. Generally bacteria. Next coming Protista. Protista, they are what? They are eukaryotic unicellular organisms. Presence of true nucleus. Okay. Their mode of nutrition is holozoic or parasitic. Okay. Cell-bound membranes are present. Cell-bound organelles, membrane-bound organelles are present. And what happened that the nucleus over here, they contain the genetic material. And different types of histone proteins are also present. Example, amoeba, or you can say algae. Okay. Third one is the fungi. Fungi, they are eukaryotic. They can be unicellular or multicellular, but they do not have chlorophyll. That means their mode of nutrition either saprophytic or parasitic or symbiotic. Okay. The cell wall is made up of either chitin or cellulose. Example, mucor yeast. Fourth kingdom is Plantae. That is it is obviously multicellular, eukaryotic, autotrophic, non-motile organisms. Growth is indefinite in them. They bear chlorophyll in order to perform photosynthesis, and also they are known as the producers. Okay. Example, moss, fern, angiosperm, gymnosperm. The fifth one is the Animalia. They are also multicellular animal body, eukaryotic. They are heterotrophic, that is holozoic mode of nutrition. Body is regular and growth is definite, not indefinite. The cells are bearing centrioles. They do not have plastid and cell walls. Example, any kind of invertebrate or vertebrate animals like hydra, sponge, earthworm, cockroach, fish, anything else, etc., etc. So these are the 5 kingdom classification. Now I will read about bacteria, which is a specific type of the Monera kingdom. What happens? They are generally unicellular. They generally contain different types of filaments as their, or you can say different types of hair-like structures as their locomotory organs. They are without chlorophyll, that means they are heterotrophic generally. They are surrounded by cell wall. They do not possess any true nucleus, nuclear membrane or any other membrane bound cell organelles. They are devoid of Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria. Okay. Mitotic cell division is absent within the bacterial cell. Now bacteria mainly reproduce by the means of binary fission, that means mitosis, or you can say direct cell division. Okay, they are very much sensitive to fudge virus, and they can be harmful as well as they can be useful also. Now these bacteria are categorized under prokaryotes. Why? Because number one point is that the main chemical composition of the cell wall is mucopeptide. Okay. Next is that they are having primitive nucleus without nuclear membrane and nucleolus. Third one is that their cell membrane bound organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies are absent within the bacteria. 70S ribosome are irregularly scattered within the cytoplasm, and their mode of cell division is amitotic. So due to all these 5 reasons, bacteria are categorized under prokaryotes. Now we will classify bacteria. So there are 4 types of bacteria: Coccus, Bacillus, Spirillum, Vibrio. So Coccus is what? It is the type of bacteria and which is unicellular, spherical or oval shaped. It is having different other types like Micrococcus, subtypes actually: Micrococcus, Diplococcus, Tetracoccus, Streptococcus, Staphylococcus. So these are the subtypes of the Coccus. Next is that Bacillus. Bacillus is what? This type of bacteria looks like rod. That means it is rod shaped bacteria. Okay. Now this Bacillus bacteria is again of 3 types: Diplobacillus, Palisade Bacillus and Streptobacillus. Now coming Spirillum. Spirillum means it is spiral shaped. Okay. So this is the Spirillum, and next one is the Vibrio or comma shape. That means this bacteria looks like comma. Now due to the presence and absence of flagella, the bacteria again can be divided into many types. Now on the basis of number of flagella, the bacteria can be divided into 5 types. Monotrichous means only one flagella. Lophotrichous means a tuft of or a group of flagella at one site. Okay. Amphitrichous means presence of tuft of flagella or group of flagella on both the sides. Peritrichous means that group of flagella are present on all the 4 sides. Okay. And Atrichous means A means absent. That means there is no flagella. Understood? So this is about it. Now next we are going for the gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Now who are these gram-positive and who are these gram-negative bacteria? There is a stain termed as gram stain, which is made up of crystal violet and iodine. Okay. Now the bacteria who get stained by that stain are termed as gram-positive, and the bacteria which are not getting stained by that one is termed as the gram-negative bacteria. Understood? Now we will move on to the protista. At first we will see about the locomotion of the protista. They locomote by pseudopodia, or you can say false food like amoeba, by cilia or ciliary locomotion, by flagella or flagellar locomotion. So these types of locomotion can be seen. Number 2, we will go about nutrition. That means how they obtain their nutrition. Okay. So first, obviously photosynthetic mode of nutrition, that means autotrophic. Some of them are autotrophic. Some are holozoic. Like holozoic is what? Holozoic is like amoeba. That means if this is the amoeba and this is the food particle, what will happen? The amoeba will extend its arms around the food particle and ultimately it will engulf the food particle. So this mode of nutrition is called holozoic nutrition. What are the other forms of nutrition? Parasitic. That means they get their nutrition from the living organisms. Another one is saprophytic. That means they get their nutrition from dead and decaying organisms. So this was all about nutrition. Number 3 is that respiration. Respiration generally through the body surface. Okay, aerobic respiration, body surface. Next coming reproduction. Okay, so reproduction, generally asexual reproduction if it is, then binary fission, multiple fission, budding, spore formation. And if it is sexual reproduction, then it will be syngamy and conjugation. Syngamy means fusion of the gametes. Okay, isogamy, anisogamy, oogamy. Conjugation means union of the gametes or union of the two cells of the same species. Okay, but through the conjugating tube. Understood? Next is that next is life cycle. Life cycle, that means they shows both the kind of generation, haploid and diploid generation. Okay, haploid gametes are formed by the help of the meiosis, and after forming the gametes fuse with each other and will produce the diploid organism. So this was all about the protista. Now I will go for the fungi. Now the characteristics of fungi, I have told you that they are generally eukaryotic, multicellular, okay, but heterotrophic, not autotrophic, because they do not have chlorophyll, okay. Their mode of nutrition is either saprophytic or parasitic, okay. So these are the general characteristics of fungi. Now I will look about the alternation of generation, or you can say life cycle of the fungus. Generally 3 types of life cycle have been seen in fungi. First of all is the haplontic life cycle. Haplontic, by the word you are understanding, haplontic means haploid. Okay, that means over here the haploid thing is very much dominant. That means over here the plant is haploid, the gametes are haploid, only the zygote is diploid. Other than zygote, everything over here is haploid. Next is diplontic life cycle. In this diplontic life cycle, that means everything is diploid except the gametes, or you can say the spores. Except the gametes or the spores are haploid. Other than this, everything is diploid. Okay. Next is diplobiontic. Diplobiontic is what? Over here we can see the gametophytic plant, gametophytic haploid plant, and over here we can also see the sporophytic diploid plant as well. So as we can see both the haploid and the diploid thing over here, so it is termed as diplobiontic life cycle. Understood? Now we will go for the lichens. Lichen is a specific type of plant, or you can say organism, which formed due to the mutualism of algae and fungi. Okay, the algae and fungi in a mutualism forming the lichen. Okay, now this is leprose. As I have told you that association of fungi and algae. So what happens over here? This is the general association. That means the inner side is algae and the fungi is surrounding the algal portion. Next is the crustose. Crustose means the word is coming from the crust. That means this lichen is very much strongly attached to the substratum. Okay. Next is that foliose. Okay, it is a flat leaf-like structure. Understood? And they are very much branched and they are attached to the surface by some root-like structure called rhizomes. Next is fruticose. This is a lichen of different shapes. They can be erect, they can be shrubby, they can be hanging down. Okay, and they are very much firmly attached to the base. Next is that filamentous. The word filamentous, that means the algal portion is filamentous, and the algal portion is very much dominant over the fungal portion. Now there are some attachment organs of the lichen. First of all, rhizines. What happens? This attachment organ, rhizines, it is very much simple and unbranched, or you can say it is a simple attachment through which the lichen attached with the substratum. Next is hold fast. This the basal algal free region of the lichen are persistent and black in color, and it helps to hold the ground very strongly. Rhizinose strand, these are very much thick, tough, complex, irregularly branched structure. Next is hyphal net. What happens in this case? The fungal hyphae develop reticulately very fine network-like structures. Okay, hypothallus, this is noted in the lower surface of the lichen. It is thick, spongy, black colored. Next is hapters, which are short, apical, very much piercing or penetrating branches, okay, and have no attachment with the point of their place of origin. So I am keeping my video till this much. In my next video, I will continue with the chapter. Thank you.